Hey guys, iPod King here. Today I'm going to do my review of the Otterbox Commuter lookalike case for the iPod Touch 4G from BudgetGadgets. So before I get into the review, I'm just going to give a quick huge thanks to BudgetGadgets for sending this case out for a review. You can find their link at www.budgetgadgets.com, or you can look in the description box because I will have a link provided for you there. So before I actually get into the tour of the case, I'm just going to tell you guys what I think is the main feature about this case, and that is the price. Over at www.budgetgadgets.com, you can find this for near $3, which is an amazing price, so keep that in mind as you are watching this review. One more thing I should state, and this is what I do with every silicone case review, is what type of silicone it has. My ratings are that rubbery silicone that's very typical. It doesn't have any really coating on it. It's just kind of nice, but it isn't that tacky kind, if you know what I'm talking about. Tacky kind is more that cheap kind that, it doesn't mean to be tacky. It's kind of that normal one, but just less high quality. So we have the tackiness. We have the normal kind, which I always prefer. And then we have the velvety soft. This happens to be the velvety soft. Why don't I like velvety soft? Well, it's basically because it doesn't attract as much lint, but the thing is that it can kind of fade and fade away over time. If it touches water or it just touches, general wear and tear, it can get a little more tacky. It can get a little more on all that kind of stuff side, and it kind of decays, like I said, over time. So as far as silicone goes, B+, B- around that kind of area. Now we're finally going to get into the case tour. So now I'm finally going to give you guys a case tour before I actually slip it on the iPod Touch. This is going to be a quick one, but as you can see, in front of us we have two materials. We have our colored, I say colored because there's tons of colors you can choose from. Don't be disappointed with colors because they have over 9. And then we have this polycarbonate material, which basically is a little exoskeleton kind of frame thing that is very flimsy. Be careful with this one. As well as this is pretty thin, but it gets a little, tougher and thicker in some kind of areas of the case to aid your performance and grip. So I'm going to give you guys a quick silicone case tour since this is two components. Up here we have our front-facing camera hole. We have a light sensor hole. This is all green silicone or colored silicone. Inside this is very smooth. Like I said before, this is the velvety soft silicone, which is the B-, B+ kind of silicone. We have a cutout for our Apple logo. As you can see, I can stick my thumb through it. But this is actually not the one that has a screen shield through it like the Otterbox Commuter does, which is basically what this case is, except a kind of look-alike kind of, model of that. So this does not have a, shield to protect that, but no worries, it is pretty deep. Here we don't have any Otterbox logo right there, which is a little bit surprising because we actually do see that on the real model. We have a thicker, part to cover the home button to protect that. Nice, no complaints there. On the back, we do have little grips. Here we have little rigids, so it can aid your grip, and like I said before, aid your performance and grip throughout when you use the case. Here we have a cutout for the camera and microphone. Just makes it. It's very nice. As you can see, two, but it just fits it. No problem, sir, with a camera or mic. Here we have our lock button. Very easy. It's one of the easiest cases I ever had. This is the easiest to press, and that is one thing I always look into a case is how easy you can press the buttons. This, no complaints here. I already went over the back, plain, nothing really much. This is where the exoskeleton lies. Very nice and snug there. Here, unfortunately, this did tear the first day I got it. There was a silicone flap here that covered the dock protector and covered the dock and the headphone jack, but that didn't really matter because it didn't work anyway. So that's about it for the silicone. Nothing really special. I'll get to the complaints and good things about that a little later in this review when I get more in depth. But exoskeleton, pretty simple, straightforward. It kind of fits around, as you can see, like that for the Otterbox Commuter case, the real one. As you can see, it does basically the exact same thing. This aids your, drop protection and kind of scratch protection and that kind of stuff. But it is very nice. It doesn't, it is very flimsy, but once it actually sticks on the case, or the iPod Touch and the case, is very nice. It will, protect it much more. As you can see, we do have Otterbox right here. Very nice. Surprisingly, it isn't in the inside. like I said before, which the real one does. But, you know, cheap, but like I said, once you put it on the iPod Touch and the case, it will remain very strong. So that's about it for the quick tour. Now we're just going to stick it on the iPod Touch. So unfortunately, installation process on this case is very, very hard. I'm sorry to say that is almost impossible. And I'm a very optimistic person when I look at cases and stuff. But guys, I have to say that this is one of the hardest, if not the hardest case to install on the iPod Touch. So, you know, guys, sorry, I'm going to have to cut this part out because it hopefully will take under 10 minutes, if not 15, to install this on your iPod Touch. One major gripe, then again, can't really ask much for a $3 case. So finally got it installed on my iPod Touch, and that took me about 5 minutes. As you can see, I didn't even get it correct. There's a big flap right here, and that's one complaint. One of the biggest gripes, again, that I had about this case is that this will not stay down, and when it does, and when I try to force it down, it rips the silicone. One thing bad about having, you know, different kinds of materials and different kind of thickness in your silicone, down here it happens to be pretty thin, and I do have quite some holes in here on the back of my silicone in the first day of using it. One big thing about it, I will actually just take this off real quick off my iPod Touch right now and show you guys. If you can see. Now guys, obviously it's not going to show on camera. Here's a pretty good rip right there I had. Pretty big. I mean, guys, the silicone rips, I'm going to have to point this out. Definitely really a big thing you're going to have to point, you know, take note of when you're buying this case. There is some up here because of some attempts of where I try to push it up here. This does wave up too. But guys, then again, once again, you can't really ask much for a $3 case. I'm going to pause it again, get this back on, and we're going to continue with the review. So on top of being not my favorite kind of silicone, this silicone is, you know, kind of manufactured cheap, and it isn't the strongest. As you can see, this is stretching right here. Could be because this is really waved and messed up, but partially just because the silicone is just a little bit on the cheap side. And that is what makes the camera hole and camera flap do that. Now, it's not a big deal just because that's going to break anyway, and there is, you know, a big cutout in between that. You're not going to have any interference when that is gone. Over here, actually, you can see that there's a big, you know, lay on the table design for the Apple logo, as you can say. No problems with doing that with it. I mean, it's overall pretty grippy case. Remains very thin, as you can see. If you can hear that, the volume buttons is just perfect. Don't have any complaints there, but when you try to press it when the volume buttons or the lock buttons like that, you know, you just can't. You have to press the home button. As far as home button for this goes, when this is flat, it does stay flat. I mean, you have to pretty tug it up to that so no dirt and stuff is going to get in there and, you know, scratch your home button up. One kind of, you know, must that, you know, silicone case does is flaps up the side when you do this, and this does that, as you can see, and that kind of takes it beyond that as far as, you know, worseness goes, and kind of, you know, bubbles up a bit. Something, you know, to keep in mind is kind of weird having like a fat iPod around the sides. When I hold a game, kind of fixes that, but when I swipe, you know, that kind of disease comes back, but expect it in a silicone case, you know, kind of like that now. There we go. So, you know, guys, all around, it has a lot of complaints. I mean, I had this in the first day using it. I have a lot of gripes. Good thing is this, it looks great, guys. So many nice, bright, and vivid colors you can choose from on the website. Like I said, www.budgetgadgets.com. But, guys, you know, like I said, I'm a very optimistic person when it comes to cases and stuff. But this one, guys, you know, unfortunately, the gripes overcome, you know, the good things about it. That being said, though, guys, $3, this is a solid case. If you're the guy who puts it on, keeps it on, because I did succeed a little bit on when I first put it on, check out my unboxing. I'll have a link below, as well as an annotation somewhere on the screen right there, if you want to check out my unboxing. But guys, I had this on first. I tried to, you know, take it on just to take note of how easy it was to take it off and on. And, you know, that's where the trouble began. It started ripping, everything kind of started taking apart, you know, etc., etc. Now, a couple more gripes, you know, side ones, not as big, that don't really affect it. This isn't the most stable. It can kind of pop out a bit. Right now it seems pretty snug. A little gripe that won't even take it down, 0.5 stars. Guys, originally, I'd probably rate this a, you know, If it was a normal price case, probably rate this like a 5 out of 10 or like a 4.5, because it really isn't very good case for, average price of $20, $30, even $40 for this case. But for $4, I'm gonna have to say, if you're that kind of guy who doesn't care if there's a couple reps, doesn't really mind it and needs some pretty solid protection. I mean, not as much as a better, higher quality case, but it's a very nice case for that. I mean, $4 for $3, whatever, same thing. It's very nice. A lot of complaints, couple, good things about it. Either way, it is a pretty solid case for $3 higher. I'd probably look for a higher quality case if you're looking for, a big, beefy, protective case. Check out the real Otterbox. Always check out some high quality case companies. Switch Easy, Case Crown, iFars. There's some examples if you want to look up that website. So that's about it, guys. For this case, for the price, 6.5. It depends on the person. I'd probably rate it a 6.5. Other people probably rate it like a 7.5, 7 out of 10. Decent case. Okay, that's about it, guys. iPod Crev King, and I will catch you guys in the next one.